the EU one and EU teams that play in the NA one. So
only thing I'll say to that, because I don't want to like go too much about it, is just that in the closed beta I understood because there wasn't 64 teams, so you needed to fill the signups. But now that there's so many extra teams that want to play, but they're on a waiting list, put on hold over like Europeans playing North American tournament. That I kind of just like, that needs to change.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
That's
I think
all I'll say.
Yeah, Mitch, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of that, I probably would just agree. I mean, this kind of speaks for itself, and I don't really know why it hasn't been addressed yet. But again, it's not me. Doing
I mean, to be fair, they're getting a shitload of viewers.
Reason, right?
Like they had 20K like last week, and if I'm not mistaken.
It's like, here's the thing, right? You want your quarterfinals or your semifinals to have all the best teams, whatever region they're in. Right? I understand that from a marketing perspective, but you're shitting on the players that want to get experience up against these guys by letting the other half of the bracket be filled in the first round with like 4 top teams from EU. Like, come on, guys, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, build up a storyline. You know what I mean? Like, let's build up the regions, and then if you want to do something cool, just bring them together. You know, for an awesome Ghosty Gamers event. You know, just a big event, right, with a huge prize. I mean, I think that would be cool. But with so many teams wanting to play, I think it is time to start region locking to a degree. Or at least region locking period, at least for these weeklies.
I mean, ONOG did it okay. I think they had kind of like open qualifiers where they didn't really. I don't think they had a team limit. They might have.
No, there was a team limit.
They ran 2 weeks of qualifiers.
Yeah,
like
it was like 128 or so. There were a lot of teams.
No, just Friday night alone. Like last Friday night was 124 teams that one night.
That's nuts. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine admitting for it. Yeah, but
368 teams.
Yeah. Well, I do want to say, congratulations to Reunited for winning the EU one and NVS again for winning the NA. NVS won both of them last week, so Reunited, in some ways, upsetting NVS, I guess, to a degree this week, at least in EU. And then LG had a pretty good run too. They got to the finals of NA. So
we're getting there.
Yeah.
So Shayed, you always say I'm biased towards Luminosity, or I'm always against Luminosity. Here you go. Here's proof that I'm not. Yeah, Reunited, you won 1 tournament. Who cares? Win more. All right, you win 1 tournament. Everyone gets lucky once in a while. Let's see you win a couple more turns before I call you like our #1 team in Europe. All right. I'll talk shit to any team. I don't care.
Oh God! What the hell? Okay, wow.
I've known Reunited for so long. Like, yeah, you won a tournament. I mean, yeah, they're getting better. You were shit when the game came out originally in the closed beta. You're not the team.
They're getting shit on by Melties, so that's
Well, yeah.
They're getting better, but consistency. Let's see some of that.
They're starting to get consistent. I can't, right? I mean,
really,
I think
Too Easy is actually my favorite player in the whole game.
Why?
Know him for like a year and a half, and then say that again.
He talks so much. It's fantastic.
You wait till you meet him.
So good.
He is really funny.
Like, I watch Reunited games just to watch chat on the side of the screen to see what he's gonna type. The greatest thing ever.
You should see him raging back in Battlefield. He would find always something to complain about. Always something to complain about.
Oh man. Okay, well, let's talk about ONOG too. So ONOG had their Group A, I believe, this past weekend, and Group A was a pretty stacked group. I mean, it had Cloud9, LG, Rogue, and NG Blue, as well as B. Was that B Fly? Yeah, B Fly at the end. Yeah, so some good matches there too. I was trying to catch up on those VODs too last night. LG played well there too. So I mean, you guys doing well. Cloud9 looked their dominant self. I mean, not much to say really. I mean, Cloud9's just been solid. It's really just been a matter of just like putting Cloud9 and Envious together and seeing like having them duke it out just continually over and over to see who's the best team right now.
I think the more interesting part of this is actually the lower side of the brackets, or the group, should I say, even in the top. Like Rogue, for example, of course, we're seeing the effects of the removal of IDDQD and Toxicant coming in now as well, and they are going to take some time. You can't replace a player like IDDQD. I'm almost certain that you have to build your team differently, actually, when you don't have someone like him to play around it now. Many people may disagree with me, but hearing...
Can I say something on that?
Sure.
Is that because no, sorry, not to cut you off, but like I think it's also a good thing for him too, because you have Wins, which I know Mitch and I have talked about this, and I know he's on the same page with me. Is that you have Wins, who's a ridiculously good aimer, wasn't Shoot Mania, still is. Maybe he can switch to DPS role and they can find a new support.
Yeah, he should never have played Lucio in the first place. He hates it. I hate watching him play Lucio as well because I know what the guy can do. So I mean,
Okay.
and even on that as well, Northern Gaming Blue, I found them really interesting to watch in general. You know, it's interesting to see now as well. Like they got that one win there as well, of course, up against Beefly, who we were all wondering where the hell Outsider was going to end up after he was removed, obviously from Flat Earth Creation. Like where'd he go? He was in
That
Team
was kind of a weird
Experiment for a while.
situation too, because RDA was playing with them for their qualifier games as a sub or stand-in, and then he wasn't there for the rest of their games afterwards. So
Talk to the admins about that one.
Oh, all right.
I don't know. I mean, that's interesting. The only reason I say this is because Outsider has had trouble sticking in teams, and it's always the same reason that I get from people about him, right? Even the guys that play with him in PKD, in Dirty Bomb, and all these other games said the same thing. Is that it's just not easy to gel with him sometimes. He's quite a strong personality, I feel, and he hasn't really managed to settle. So, I mean, as a footnote, I'd be interested to see how long he stays with B-Fly, especially if their results aren't improving. We'll see.
well, they dropped out of the tournament.
Yeah, they
dropped out of
forfeited.
ONOG.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay. We'll
I
have
can't wait to see Nubris actually, like in Group B.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't wait to see them. Like
Yeah.
it's so cool to see
Well, they
Hubris,
don't
who was
really
the team.
exist anymore.
They don't exist anymore? What?
Nubrus
Oh,
doesn't really exist anymore.
they're still playing in this thing together, though, right?
I don't know what their roster is going to
What?
Let's just say,
they
What's
qualified-
going
don't
on,
expect-
dude?
be.
God.
It's like 3-6 of the teams split and went to different directions.
to see them.
So they're like, I don't even know if they could can they even play?
Man, what is this? Oh,
'Cause-
gosh. Just
I
initial-
would say, if I was admitting this the way I had it admit in the first one, it would be you have to play with 4/6 of your roster that you qualified with.
I think that's
and
fair. Yeah.
Nubrus is not 4/6 anymore. Like, I'm pretty sure it's 3/6 has split up and gone different directions.
Yeah, I think half of it has actually split. I'm pretty sure.
So that's a little it's not the same team anymore.
Where did half go
Yeah.
then? Mitch, you said half of them went somewhere.
I know that Stoop, Custer, and Cool Matt. I think they're still playing together. I think they're forming a new team though, like a completely new team. So
They don't have a name yet, though.
Is it going to be an iteration of Hubris and Nubris?
Zubrus.
Yeah.
Hubris.
Plan H and N
Depending on-
didn't work. Let's try Z.
Exactly. Let's go straight to the end.
And I think I could be wrong, but I
Players
think
they have.
ID was trying out for Liquid,
Wow.
maybe.
Okay.
Do we need to- yeah, that's true. We didn't really put
I don't
in
remember.
That,
Don't quote me
Vonnefeld's
on that.
gone.
I could be wrong, but I
Vodafone.
think
I don't
that
think
was
ID
going
will be
on.
playing for Liquid. I can say that with a relative degree of
Wow.
confidence.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna have to see what happens there. I hope there's not forfeits there either, because that always sucks just for, just all the fans and spectators too. But this group's pretty stacked too. I mean, I'm excited to see what happens here for this coming weekend. And for those of you not familiar, I guess with the format, play the groups. I think this weekend, and then the following weekend I think is just the whole finals, just between the top teams in both groups, I believe. So yeah, definitely follow this if you can. It's all the top teams, so definitely good stuff.
I mean, if you put Creation in there instead of B-Fly, that would probably be the most stacked tournament that
would.
we've seen.
That's true. Literally the best. Yeah, the teams with the
Did
best
Creation
results.
not qualify? Like, I don't actually know why they're not in there.
Did they sign up even?
They might not have wanted to play on NA servers.
Oh, I remember hearing something like that. Yeah.
It's $15,000. You're
Just
complaining
do it,
about on
right?
NA?
Well,
Might
Reunited
look
is
bad.
scrimming on NA like a lot.
Yeah,
right
most
now, because
European
it helps
teams are
them
now.
get rid of getting used to the ping. So
Mhm.
maybe Creation didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Creation, please.
I'm not saying that's the reason why. I'm just saying that might be. I could see that being a reason.
Just reminding everybody, that all these tournaments that we talked about have all been single hero limits, and generally speaking, I think it's been fine. I mean, I think we had this conversation a lot, but any new comments, I guess, about that? Anything you guys noticed this week that? I mean, it's a lot of the
just can't
same
wait to see.
comms. I see a lot of the same comms, but that's to be expected.
So more of not one hero limit, or sorry, more of against one hero limit. I can't wait to see how the no hero limit's going to change now with McCree being nerfed and Widowmaker being nerfed. If that's actually going to even out a little bit, we'll see a little bit more diversity. Like, for me, one hero limit is, at the moment, boring to watch because you basically always have same comps. Yes, you can argue in no hero limit you have same comps as well, but when there's like, I think I said this last week, when there's 40 heroes out, one hero limit's going to be like king. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Because there's that much diversity, but you just don't have it right now. You're just going to see the same 6 over and over and over again.
It's
maybe
the same
an
argument
occasional
for both
7 thrown in.
sides.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no diversity if there's
But,
2 hero, or if there's no hero limit. There is any diversity if it's 1 hero limit.
And no hero limit, there's diversity in strats.
Exactly.
There is.
You can
Diversity
actually
in
still
strats.
diversity.
One
Yeah.
hero limit is not.
specific strat.
Yeah. It just
Well,
might
I
bring.
want to watch the
Melty.
monkeys. I don't
No,
want to do
but
it.
for instance, Melty on King's Row on first point, instead of going for a Pharah, like the Pharah to attack the first point, they went with like a double Reaper and a Lucio. They sped him into the room, they charged the back line, and took the point against Rogue. This is at the Takeover tournament. You see, ingenious things like that and little kinks, little things being played that are actually nice, like cool to see, actually fun to cast. I get to know when you have 4 McCrees and you're Mitch trying to find the right McCree who's dead-eyeing, but like there is more room for potential strategy and no hero limit at the moment.
I mean, it
And I
just.
actually-
go ahead, Mitch. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. And I actually think some people feel as if the vehemence at which they argue against or for hero limits, I think that's actually going to change anything. But when you're arguing against something that is literally Blizzard's core philosophy about the game, and you think, oh, well, if I send them a few more eggplants, it's going to work. Like, I'm sorry, but it's like the first season of League of Legends. Everyone was sick of everyone playing mid-Ash all the time. It's broken.
Yeah.
I can't deal with it. Like, yeah, the point is, right, the biggest problem with the no hero limit is the stacking of broken heroes. So let's wait and see if there's any change. But don't forget as well, I mean, think back to King of the Watch, where we had arguably the 2 best teams in Europe. No one could win on the attacking side on Numbani on that first point. Now, that's an isolated example, but still one well worth taking into account here. Teams cannot craft strategies to a specific end and so are hamstringed, and they have this cookie-cutter lineup that they have every time, and it's just not great to watch or cast.
I think the example I gave when I was talking to Mitch at the office earlier was you have a lot of these players, think back to 1.6, even before 1.6, to TF2, etc., Quake, whatever. They made their rule set because the publishers of the game weren't involved with making the competitive rule set of the game. So you had people in CS, like for instance, if Valve was invested back in like 1.3 or 1.5, whatever, would we be seeing the same map pools that we are now played? Probably not, but because the competitive community played that way for so long, Valve adopted that. But now you have Overwatch, where it's like, well, they're the ones that dictate the control or the esports of the game because they're the ones investing the millions of dollars into it. Well, they get to choose how the game's played, and you can either like it or not. Obviously, they would be a terrible company if they didn't take into consideration what the players want, so they obviously are, but they're the ones putting the money in, so you kind of have to just play with it and then find what works for you.
I think hero limits right now is kind of necessary just from a spectator perspective, but once there's more heroes in the game and people have more options and there's more choice and more diversity in hero picks, then by all means don't use hero limits. But I mean, the fact that I was like the biggest proponent against hero limits like 2 months ago, and now I'm like advocating it, should probably be a sign that like it's boring as shit to watch hero or non-hero limit games.
I respectfully disagree with that. I think
Well,
it's
it
far more
shouldn't
boring
be.
to
I
watch
mean,
hero limit games.
It comes down to just the degree of which people are trying new stuff, and I think there are definitely times where people just settle on what the meta is, and then there aren't new things being tried, and those things get boring. Those things kind of things get boring in every game, where meta just kind of stabilizes.
There's a difference between watching a no hero limit game and playing a no hero limit game. Because I literally just talked to Vic and Too Easy about this earlier on today because I was playing with them, and I was saying, what do you think about no hero limit? And Too Easy's like, yeah, it's stupid. Double Winston is stupid. Double McCree is stupid.
Yeah.
That's Too Easy. He'll be very vulgar about it. And I said, okay, well, what if McCree was changed in a way that he's more balanced, and Winston was changed in a way he's more balanced, whereas ult is a little bit different in terms of how much health you get back? And he said, yeah, the no hero limit would actually be pretty fun to play. But
I feel like
I
Blizzard
think due to the
balance McCree this time. They didn't balance him for double McCree. They balanced him as just McCree.
Well, they always balance just as that character, I feel like.
The original Winston changes in closed beta was pretty much a change to
for the double
Winston.
Winston. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. And the thing is as well, like the reason why at the beginning we didn't see we saw pretty much no hero limit tournaments is because Blizzard were incredibly interested to see what people would come up with when they stacked heroes, because they wanted to actually get a basis for balancing not only individually as one hero, but also if you had 6 of them or 3 of them or 2 of them or whatever. That's something they have on their radar in a big way. And for us as well, we were specifically directed, I guess, in a direction by Blizzard in which we could see a little bit more from no hero limit stuff during the beta.
The title.
It's a reoccurring topic. We literally talk about this like every week.
I think
hilarious.
if the Blizzard employees have to watch us have another conversation about hero limits, I'm pretty sure they're all going to shoot themselves.
Okay, well, we can move on to
We need to just make a rule that we're not allowed to talk about hero.
I know we can't. Okay, we cannot talk about it next week. All right, I'm throwing that out there. Right now. Okay.
A big tournament coming up. I heard in August.
There's some big tournament, some 100K tournament, some record prize pool tournament that's supposedly having at Gamescom, hosted by some organization called ESL. I don't know what organization.
Never heard of them.
That hired. I've heard they hired like terrible casters, but so yeah. What do you guys know about like this
Singular
event?
there, caster.
Oh,
Terrible
caster.
caster.
Oh, okay. All right, casters. All right, so come on. What details can you give us about this? We announced this. We mentioned this last week. So surely you can give us something.
You want me to go first, Mitch?
I have this feeling, Mitch. Okay.
So, how to go about this?
Oh my
Hello.
God! Why are we even talking about this?
I can do it. I got this. Okay. So, one thing that we want to make sure to hammer home with this tournament is that we are listening to the community as well as talking to Blizzard. So currently we're in talks with Blizzard about the rule set that we want to see done. This isn't like hey, ESL's just gonna wave their dick around and be like, you guys are being forced to play this. No, we're actually taking into consideration quite a few different things when it comes to this. We're listening to quite a few different people. We're getting suggestions from quite a few people, and we'll decide on a rule set that we think overall not only is fun enough to play, but at the same time is fun to watch. Because that's the biggest priority.
So it's not going to be stopwatch.
I can't
comment
confirm
on
or deny, but what I'm saying is that the biggest priority I think for this tournament is to make sure it's fun to watch, fun to play, and to get more people interested in esports or Overwatch. That's our biggest focus right now.
Yeah. So things that we can't talk about is specific rule set and format.
Okay.
It's TBA. We don't even know what is being sussed out right now as well. And look, I see it all the time. Now, as an ESL caster, right, every Reddit thread you see is like, oh, here we go. ESL's going to fuck up yet another game. Here comes ESL, make their fucking money. And it's like, okay, all right, fine. I get it, right? It's kind of fun to do that. It's edgy and cool to hate the big mega corporation that's going to come and steal your money and make it their own. But we are passionate about Overwatch, all right? Like myself and Jason, even as casters, we have the rare opportunity to be involved in the planning of this whole project, right? So it's not just guys in suits sat at computers in their offices deciding how to make the most money. We are very in there deep, and we also know what the community wants, what they want to see. We're well and truly involved in this process, right? I got dragged into Pro Talk, and people flame me for expressing my opinion. I read through it and I discussed it. We know what the players want. We know what Blizzard wants. We know what the community wants. So we're lucky enough to have these ideas from a lot of people. I mean, people can say, oh, they want their ESLs here to make some money. I actually am here for good Overwatch and a growing scene. So we're doing the best that we can while satisfying all the constraints we're put under to put on the absolute best show that we can.
You've got Demon, myself, Mitch, and even Joe Miller putting some info in. That's like 30 years alone of like esports experience. And we're trying to make it the best tournament that we possibly can. I think Mitch definitely hit it home perfectly that we're like literally trying to be involved in the process to make sure the product's good. We don't want people to...
Is it the player's opinion, though, that's getting put across? Because, I mean, if you're in Pro Talk, you see pretty much what the majority of competitive players right now want is stopwatch. And... I feel like this is, again, kind of like the hero limit discussion all over again. We kind of talk about this every week, but...
The format of the entire tournament, whether it's rules, whether it's hero limit, no hero limit, is being decided in conjunction with ESL and Blizzard to decide, as both organizations are also listening to the community. So whatever comes out is what Blizzard and ESL have both agreed with, and feel like it's in the best interest of the general game at the time.
Yeah, and maybe some of you guys are wondering, oh, why are they making such a big deal of this tournament? Well, this tournament is a 100K tournament, right, guys? So this is obviously the biggest tournament that we've seen. And how many teams? Is 8 teams like that are going to be qualifying for it? Or are there any invites or no? Is it just all qualifying?
0 invites. They're all done through the qualifiers, which happen on a week basis at EU and NA.
Okay, and this is going to be August 20 to 21st at Gamescom. Yes. Which is in a couple months. Okay, so we got 2 months leading up to it. All right, hopefully it'll still be the highest prize pool by the time it does happen.
I just don't want to
100K is awesome.
Situation where it's like, what do people want to see from like a spectator thing over what players want to play? Like, I think the most important part of an esports situation is making sure that the players are playing what they want, and
there's a fine balance between.
Well, there's
the players,
definitely
that goes back to
there's
the whole,
a balance
like,
between that. Yeah.
I heard an analogy.
Very narrow view.
I heard an analogy about this. It's like if the NBA players could decide the rules of the game, there'd be no 3-pointers.
Yeah,
which would make the game boring to watch. It might make it more fun for them to play.
Well, I don't hear.
And it's not hard to understand once it's explained to you the first time.
Who said anything is being fixed or broken?
What?
I don't recall mentioning that this was going to be changed.
No. I'm saying people that kind of want to change from stopwatch. It's like, it's not broken. Like, don't fix it. That analogy. So,
sure. I mean that's fine, but I think, I don't really think it's been discussed about changing stopwatch or anything like that. I don't think we've mentioned it either, and I don't think that's how we would reconcile the interests of all the different stakeholders and parties in this kind of situation. I don't actually think that's the crux of the issue either.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, just the whole discussion about whether to make a format that's either one way, just exactly what the players want, and maybe a little less spectator friendly, and the other side, the other end of the spectrum being completely spectator friendly and bad for the game. I think Jason makes a good point. I mean, I think in the end, we just have to pick something that we've, whoever the Blizzard feels is the right format. And then, like, the players will adapt to it. I mean, that's what players do generally. Like, they just adapt and try to.
I feel like I'm confident enough that I'm allowed to say this, that I can, is that the rule set used for this tournament isn't the rule set that's going to be used for the entirety of Overwatch. This is like literally the first tournament within a month of the game being out. The rule set can always be changed as the game is out longer and more people experience it and more people on a bigger scale get to see what it's like. So it's not like whatever we use, not confirming or denying anything that we said in terms of like what the rule set is. It was still can always be changed for future tournaments. So it's not like this is the end all be all of you have to run every tournament like this. It's not like that at all.
Yeah, until Blizzard announces whatever their plans are, it's still whatever event organizers want to do with their tournament that they feel is the best for their tournament, and then the players and teams can choose whether they want to play in it or not. It's up to them, right? But in the end, I feel like they
shouldn't have to make that choice, though.
Yeah, but it's always going to come down to that, though, Shayed. It's like you'll have to put a stake in the ground. This is what we feel is the best for what we're trying to do, and then you guys can choose whether you want to do it or not. And most of the times the players will just adapt and just figure out how to game whatever those rules are the best. That's generally what people do, right?
And it's not like Blizzard isn't listening. I mean, they're even in the pro Overwatch Discord channel listening to Flame raging about everything he possibly can. They're there listening, and honestly, like, if you guys have worked in any of the other games, it's a blessing to have an organizer or a publisher listen this closely to the pro players about what they want and what they want to see. Like, I think we talked too negatively about it.
And implementing too.
Yeah, well, you also, I mean, the fact that we don't know everything they're doing behind the scenes, you can't harsh them on not implementing something that players want. Maybe, there's so many more moving cogs in this machine that none of us know about. For me to personally be too harsh on what they're doing. I mean, the fact that they're even running these tournaments is awesome to see. You don't want them to sit back and not do anything for like a year or two. You want to see them invested into it, and they are. And I think that's a good thing in general for the game.
Okay, well, I think that's going to be it for at least the topics. Maybe we take 1 or 2 questions and we'll call it a day. How's that sound? If you guys have any questions, go ahead and either tweet it to me at ChanManV and I'll be able to read it instantly, or just message something in the Twitch chat right now, and we'll do about 3 of them, 3 quick ones. How about that? Okay, let's see. You guys see anything? I don't see anything in Twitter. Nobody tweets them to me, even though I ask for it. They always end up putting it in the Twitch chat.
Oh, wait, man. I tweet about me streaming. I get like 5 viewers, and I've got like 34K followers. It's rough.
Okay, let's see. What do we got here? What?
Oh yeah,
All right, we'll
I
get
forgot to say that GFE parted ways with Harblue this week.
Oh, Harblue.
that's true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
They're playing with
Also-
Buds, I believe.
Hawks left SG1, one of the long-time standing members.
Yeah, it's crazy because he was like part of the core of that team, or close to anyway. So, yeah, interesting times.
Okay, all right. If there's no questions, then we'll just call it. Let's see here.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
So,
get it
Chan,
started.
if there's ever a tournament in Florida,
Oh God,
like a big LAN in Florida,
man.
are you ever gonna do a live show of this, a live airing of the show at
Would
the
I?
event?
Yeah,
If there was ever like a big tournament near
totally.
you,
Yeah, totally would.
are you gonna pay for Mitch and I and Shayed to come out to do it, or are you gonna replace us?
Oh, that's a good question.
We thought about doing it at DreamHack Austin, right? We were going to do a live show.
Yeah, we were gonna do
there,
it.
but
Yeah,
I wasn't able to go. So
yeah. The plan was to do it. We didn't end up doing it just because the setup at, I didn't have my own setup or anything, so I had to basically piggyback off of other people's setup, and it was pretty unclear how good that was. And then we decided to do it at the Twitch booth, and then the Twitch booth literally had the smallest space, and we're just like, no, that's not gonna happen. So
There was a question about balancing PC versus console.
Yeah, well,
Do you think console and PC versus the game need to be balanced differently?
they are
I
being
think-
balanced differently, right?
Yeah.
they are being
Yeah,
balanced.
They already
differently.
said that, so yeah, I think they should be.
I think
mean,
the
it's-
like game meta as a whole is totally different on the different platforms, anyways. So my little brother's been playing like crop ton of Overwatch, and he says that Pharah is like the most OP thing he's ever seen because people don't know how to hit her out of the air on console.
I saw something like Torbjorn has like a 70% win rate on console because people don't know how to deal with his turrets or something.
Oh
That's
gosh,
amazing.
that would be hell, dude, for me dealing with Torbjorns and can you imagine a full team of Torbjorns and you had to kill shit with the stick?
With a console
Holy
controller.
shit,
Tracer
that would
with
be
aim
so
assist
hard.
on console, just kill me, please.
Guys.
Just-
Oh, God.
Oh my gosh, that's true. Okay,
Get
so
me out.
here's a question. Sir Rooney, what do you think? Okay, this is kind of comparing to SC2. What do you think Blizzard is doing better with Overwatch than SC2, and what is worse? And wait, what's WTS? What WTS is
World
worse?
tournaments.
What
WTS? What?
What tournament?
WCS maybe he meant.
No, it's WTS is worst. Worst. Okay, I'm not sure what that. Maybe what is worse? What is better and what is worse? I'm assuming. Well, what's better is that they're, the marketing for Overwatch and just having just the general accessibility of Overwatch for all gamers has been beyond any title, I think, any kind of IP release that Blizzard's done, not just StarCraft 2. So that in turn just leads to a better start for competitive Overwatch. And then, at least for me, I don't know, y'all's opinion, what's been better? Any other clear things?
I think from what I know, especially working with Apollo and like Todd and Kalaris talking to them about their time at StarCraft, the dev team and the esports team are far closer together with Overwatch.
Yeah,
they are
that too.
in each other's pockets, and in some cases there are overlapping roles, which I think is really, really good. It's going to make those issues that we need, or those changes we need change, push through a lot quicker.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, for sure, the changes were huge, and I think just them, and this has been a progressive thing because I think StarCraft 2 is in the same place too, as well as like Hearthstone and just the other Blizzard esports and community teams. Is just their reception or their listening to feedback has been just the best it's ever been, I think, for all Blizzard titles. And when StarCraft 2 in its heyday, it wasn't like that. I mean, I'll just be straight up like David Kim. Some of the things we were talking about balance and we just complaining about things just not changing for whatever reason. And it could have been for the right reasons. It's just we didn't know the reasons a lot of times. Just not being transparent about them. It was just really frustrating. So I mean, overall, I think Overwatch is just in this new age of communication that Blizzard has with their audience and users, and I think it's definitely helped Blizzard get off on the right footsteps. Let's see, I already think Bengals asked, do you think part of the fact that no hero limit tournaments end up with boring comps is that people don't risk playing heroes that aren't that they're not instantly comfortable with, like Mei? I don't think that's the case.
I didn't hear the question. Sorry.
Yeah. This is, do you think part of the fact that no hero limit tournaments end up with boring comps is that people don't risk playing heroes that aren't instantly comfortable with characters like Mei?
Well, you should ask someone who actually thinks no hero limit comps are boring. I think.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it has nothing to do with characters that they're not comfortable with, because these pro players are awesome.
Like watching two Winstons left click their way into the end of the
Is that because you're a Mercy player, because you're a support player and they jump on you every time?
No, it's literally because how do you spectate that? Like,
easily enough.
You can spectate that. You can.
Okay, let me spectate that and go for a nap real quick. I'm gonna go.
What?
Take a nap
I mean,
while you're spectating two Winstons for half an hour.
That's a spectator's preference, I believe. I think there are other parts of the game you can watch, and there's also a handy free cam that you can use to set the timer.
Right. I mean, you don't have to focus on that. Is it boring to play?
No, I have to watch the game from whatever the in-game spectator is spectating. If whoever is observing is watching Winston,
that's their fault, and that's their
failure. But that's something that that can be improved just generally from a spectating standpoint. So,
I think there's a big amount, or not big amount, that makes no sense, a huge amount of way to go for spectating in general.
Yeah,
like of how it should be done. Yeah, like I think Aegis Rising did decently well with the picture-in-picture, so you can, if you want to catch what's happened to the payload, you can see it in the picture-in-picture. If you want to see Widowmaker going off, you can see that. There's still just a lot of ways to go in terms of that, but it's good to have dedicated observers. If you guys actually want to be dedicated observers, I say do it, because there's definitely a ton of tournaments out there that would love to have it. I know Mitch and I would love to have one, because he's basically my dedicated observer whenever we cast together.
Well, you can't cast you can't cast 100%. You can't even cast at 75% when you're observing too. So I don't know how you guys even do it whenever, like ZP, even when he's doing the weeklies or whatever, and I know Fishsticks has done it before too. It's like, I don't even know how you guys can cast at a decent level whenever you're having to do that too. So I think it would improve production overall, just quality by a lot, just having at least one dedicated spec, not to mention 3 of them. But getting back to the
10 million players Overwatch now.
I know, 10 million. Oh, forgot to mention
million.
400K on the subreddit now.
Yeah,
so sticky.
My God, it's crazy. Even the competitive is up to like 23K now. This is crazy. Competitive Overwatch, the subreddit. Check that out, guys, if you guys haven't already done that. But yeah, anyways, getting back to that question, the competitive players, like the pro players, they'll practice whatever heroes. These guys are good at many characters, okay, guys? So it's not just like, oh, I just don't want to play Mei. No, believe me. They've played Mei, and they can play probably Mei at a high level, and they just, a lot of times it just doesn't fit into what they're trying to do. So I don't think it has anything to do with that. All right, well, I think that's going to be it. I don't know, any other compelling questions? If not, we'll just call it a day. I didn't see any. Last chance. Anybody? Any of the 3 of you guys see anything? Uh-oh, Mitch seems to see something.
I need to go so bad.
I know. Okay. Yeah. Shayed's mom's in town, so from Africa
my
too.
Aunt.
Right? Oh,
my
your
aunt.
aunt. Yeah, from Africa too. So,
How
why don't
old is
we?
she?
What? How old is she? What are you?
Don't hit on
Wait,
my aunt,
man.
Jason.
What's up with that, Jason?
Vintage Jason
Oh,
Kaplan
yeah,
right there.
Exactly.
They get better with
Man.
age, just like wine.
I'm going now.
He's all about cougars, man. He's crazy.
My boy.
My boy. Oh my gosh. All right, let's do some shout outs before we go. Mitch, always a pleasure having you on, man. It's a good time. Any shout outs you want to do?
I
Hello?
think ChanManV just blew his microphone. There he is.
Oh, Mitch, any shout outs you want to do?
Shout out to everyone in Pro Talk. Love you guys. That's it, really. Shout out to everyone for watching as well. This is cool. It's nice to have so many people.
For the record, Pro Talk is a Discord channel. In case people don't know what that is, because there was a lot of people like, what the fuck is Pro Talk?
Yeah. Okay. Anything? Is that it, Mitch? Or you done with shout outs?
That's it. No, not really. I mean, we come watch us on the weekend. Custom Overwatch. That's about it, really. Me and Jason. And thanks for having me yet again. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Shayed?
Shout out to my stream and my viewers. See you guys in chat. how's it going? Thanks for being here. And ChanMan and Jason and Fishsticks, we miss you. And Mitch, thank you for being here.
What? Why are you laughing at that?
I was hoping she was going to say, like, Stir, we miss you, please come back
Oh
and
my
take
God.
Jason out of the show.
I don't think I've done a show with Stir on it yet.
No, I don't think you have either. No. You haven't done it.
Star. I'm pretty sure he's actually Star, and Stir was like a meme or something.
Yeah.
It's Stir now, though. It used to be Star, I think, but...
Anyways, yeah.
Anyways, okay,
Yes.
awesome. Jason for interrupting. God, what an ass. Jason, shout-outs.
To Mitch Leslie for being my partner now for, that sounds wrong, for 9 months, working on these shows, the Overdrive shows that we do, and casting. Lee Demon for putting in some good work to get up to speed on Overwatch and casting it with us. To Blizzard for making a sick game. And to yourself for allowing me to have the time to work on this lovely game.
All right, and
my parents. Sorry, last one. And my parents. Always got to shout out to my parents because I wouldn't be here today without them. Not just because,
Literally.
I was born. Yeah, not just because of that, but because they gave me the option, or the ability to actually focus on esports as a full-time job. And look where I am now. I'm a half-ass caster.
The feels, man. The half-ass caster. Wow.
My boy.
My boy, yeah. We're gonna have to make some kind of sound bit about Mitch saying "my boy." That's
Between
awesome.
us, we're like us two. We're an ass caster, I guess, a full ass caster. So that's alright, then, isn't it?
Okay.
We can be asses too, guys.
Good stuff. Yeah, so I just want to thank you guys, obviously, for doing the show. The three of you guys. It was a lot of fun today. All the viewers too. Thanks for hanging out. Huge thanks. I didn't actually see, but I'm assuming Seagull hosted. So big shout out to Seagull for doing that. He's awesome, and I really, really appreciate that. VODs will be up on youtube.com/ChanManV shortly after, maybe about an hour after this, so you can check it out if you missed the beginning of the show. And for all you audio listeners, the show is available on iTunes and Google Play, Podcasts, Stitcher, all the different aggregators. Definitely check that out if you like to listen to podcasts and things on the way to work and that sort of bit. And leave ratings if you like the show. Leave 5-star ratings because it helps the show in a big way if you can do that. But until next week, guys, that's going to be it for the overview. So for Mitch Leslie, Jason Kaplan, Shayed, and myself, ChanManV, we'll see you next week. Later.